Oh shit! The bloody... Oh my god. Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here tonight for season number 10. It is round number 10 of the championship as we've taken not the British Grand Prix but the Hungarian Grand Prix. Somebody needs to change that, I think, in terms of the title. But my name is James and I'm delighted to be back in the commentary box once again this week. Mr. NXX Kenworthy, or Mr. Oxide Nova, is not here this evening. I will be getting joined though by Mr. QVR Killer in due course. But it would be nice if I actually check the stream title first before actually starting the stream on an absolute whim. So hopefully that'll get changed in the meantime. But in the meantime, we can run you through, of course, the championship standings coming into tonight. And of course, it was Nathan who took the race win out on track last week. A fantastic win from his perspective. Montana there in second, extending his championship lead now to 52 points between himself and Justas. In fact, 42 points between Montana and Justas is the gap. And of course, finishing third last week was Campbell. Fantastic Mercedes 1-3, really produced the goods last week, and hopefully more to come of the Mercedes pairing here tonight as well. And it's Montana that leads the way on 161 points out on top from Justas in second on 119. Bit close actually between Justas all the way down to Nathan. Cucumber in between and third on 110, and Sweet Crown in fourth on 103, and then Nathan in fifth on 98. So you've only got 21 points covering Justas all the way down to Nathan. Then Campbell there in sixth on 78, Yilbrim in seventh on 67, Verstappen in eighth on 47, Gary 9th on 36, and Izzat in 10th on 24. And then you've got Rocco and Alp on 22, Spine and Peas on 16, Vaporizer on 15, Mohammed on 14 and 16th, and then Creeko in 17th on 10. Then goes Falcon, Marty and Matthias, who've so far scored points this season. Lifeboat as well, making his debut here tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on out on track tonight. Of course, DNF last week in Britain, an unfortunate DNF from the man in the Ferrari, so definitely one to watch out for as we progress through. Of course, PSGL F6 man, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, off the top of my notes from other leagues as well. Constructor standings as well coming into tonight. Constructor standings is much closer than the drivers, and it's Alfa Romeo who currently lead the way on 184 points, with Aston Martin second on 177, Mercedes in third on 176, with Red Bull fourth on 125, and Alpine fifth on 119. AlphaTauri in sixth on 83, bit of a chasm actually to AlphaTauri. Haas also tied in seventh on 83 points respectively. Then McLaren on eighth on 23. All the way down and 23 points, disappointing from them. Ferrari in 9th on 14, and then Williams in 10th on 12 points. That is how the line lies in terms of constructors, how the line lies in terms of the team standings, as well as the driver standings, of course. But coming into tonight, it is Hungary. Drivers might be hungry for success, certainly in terms of the action out on track. I've been doing a bit of practice over the last two nights as well for tonight. Second in the championship, if you're going to ask that in the chat. Second in the championship for me in Division 4. And I'm really feeling confident, actually, in towards Hungary. Maybe trying to take a few points off Mr. Major Vulcan, who hopefully I will be able to beat here tonight in Hungary. But we will wait and see in terms of how that goes out on track, and how you guys as well are going to fare in the comment section as well. Let me know where, of course, you are tuning in from. Of course, it is the Qatar Sprint Qualifying or Sprint Shootout or whatever the hell it is now in Formula 1. That is going on right now, so probably we're going to be low on the viewership, I would think, here tonight. But what that does mean is some entertaining action out on track, and what that does mean is me absolutely going through my voice before I have to, of course, race in Division 4 a little bit later on. But hopefully you're all doing well. Jav is here to watch QVR Gary win. More unlikely, I think, than Man United winning the Champions League or the Premier League in the next 20 years, I think, in terms of him potentially getting a race win. But he does like this track, does Gary. Of course, has done well around here in Hungary in the past. His best result so far this season, first round of the Championship in Australia. So need I say any more about how the rest of the season has when picking up 5th position there? But we have to wait and see in terms of how everything goes on. Yeah, I'm being ruthless because Sunderland got beat 4-0 off Middlesbrough in the Weirtees derby a little bit earlier on, and I was in the town a little bit earlier on in Sunderland. Put it this way, people were not happy, and they might have been smashing up the place and all sorts like that as well. But we are going to get in towards qualifying. Mr. QVR Killer will be joining me about midway through qualifying. I will keep you up to date in terms of his progress in terms of getting into the party and everything else like that. So we're going to get going into Hungary, of course. Magno Nadadec, to give it its full name. I have tried to pronounce that quite a few times on commentary in the past. Probably is never right, but Magno Nadadec. We are here at the Hungaroring, one of Hungary's actually only permanent fixtures in terms of a racing circuit. This is their main feature racing circuit, FIA Grade 1 track, of course, representing Formula 1, and hopefully we are going to see some really good racing out on track here in Hungary tonight as well. So we're going to get in towards qualifying very shortly indeed. Jav saying in the chat as well, Newcastle scoring 4 in Europe and Sunderland conceding 4 in the Championship in the same week must feel some way. To be honest, I'll be fair, Newcastle did absolutely brilliantly in the Champions League midweek. I was really, really happy for their fans, really, really happy for themselves as well, because they've been through an utter turmoil on in football in the last few years, and Newcastle, I think, have done a fantastic job, I think, to really build. Eddie Howe's managing them in an absolute brilliant way. I think he'll be the next England manager as well once that project is finished at Newcastle. But Sunderland as well, young squad. We got a very BS red card in the second half, so that is why we went down to 10 men and we lost 4-0 because all the 4 goals came in the second half as well. I would love to try and keep up with sprint updates if I can, and we'll have something on the right hand side of me, so I will try and get everything in play for Qatar. I've got it on my phone in the background. But Montana is the first man out on track here in the Aston Martin, current championship leader, of course, coming into tonight. And you could say he's going to be hungry for another win here in at the Hungaroring. But yeah, it's very difficult for me to say anyways. It looks like it's going to be a draw race, given how drivers are now feeding out of the track very early indeed. I'm assuming there is going to be a draw race here in Hungary. I have a feeling D4 a little bit later on, it's going to be a bit of interchangeable conditions, and I have been practicing for that as well. Sorry, I left the mic there, but Montana coming through the right-hander of turn number 9 and then toward the left-hander turn 10 and 11. Track limits, of course, here at turns 4, turns 11, which is this corner here, and then in toward the final corner at turn number 14 as well on the exit of the corner. So those are the 3 main points for track limits here out on track, and that does mean as well drivers can report any track limit invalidations as well. Of course, in qualifying it doesn't really matter because it will put you invalid regardless. But Montana, turn the time and tail off on the left-hand side, turn the telemetry off as well. In fact, no, we'll keep the telemetry up and run down in towards turn 1 on board with the current championship leader. 189 mile an hour reaching towards turn number 1, on the brakes in towards turn 1. Second DRS on the course here, bit of a squirm out of turn 1. Now down the hill as Marty's retired there into the pit lane, so must have got a qualifying ban from a little bit earlier on in the season, maybe from last week, of course, at Silverstone. Well, Montana now through the right-hander of turn number 3 and up the hill in towards the left-hander of turn number 4, which is the most fearsome corner on the track. 27.1 in the first second. You can pretty much take that flat out now without really losing control of the car. Through turn 5 at Carkiller corner, then in towards the chicane at 6 and 7. And of course, Lenny Sowell and Mr. Toxic as well has visited this track back in the day as well as part of the League of Europe family for Formula 1 around here. I think it was in 2021 if I'm not mistaken. As Montana comes through the right-hander of turn 11, then in towards the right-hander of turn number 12. 53.4, already up with what I was doing in terms of my Grand Prix laps that I was setting around here. So Montana looking pretty good indeed. Now comes in toward the left-hander of turn number 13 and then in toward the final corner at turn number 14. It's pretty much blink and you miss it around here at the Hungaroring, as now comes through the final corner on the run to the line. It's a 1:14.7 to start off the night. I think Gary is the second man out on track as well. 53.7, so he's matching the middle sector of Montana. He runs on the run to the line and goes 4/10 slower than his former teammate. It's Gary, of course, on Montana, formerly Constructors Champion as well last season in the AlphaTauri. Lifeboat as well on a lap 27 flat. Yildirim there to the line, 15.197, so goes roughly 800 off him. Campbell as well, 53.8 in the middle sectors. He's going to be slightly down on what Gary and Yildirim have set, but Montana out on top early on. Not many lap times being set. Quite a few drivers in the pit lane. May be the case where if they are putting potentially a bit of a changeable setup on either it wet or fully dry, you never know. But drivers are not coming out on track, maybe to actually see the tyre wear around here as well. Tyre wear for my practice a little bit earlier on, very, very high around this track. I made 17, 18 laps work, sorry, 19 laps indeed, on my Grand Prix little practice that I was doing, and it was about 60% wear on the hard compounded tyre. That's the compounded tyre I'm assuming most people would be seeing. Liam Lawson apparently has had something going on there in the sprint. I am sure that will be kept up to date with me, but it's Montana out on top, Gary in second, Yildirim in third, 5 minutes gone in the session. Spine there has retired. That is also, I believe, in the pit lane. So Spine retiring from the session. That is him in the pit lane. And looking through the stewards reports as well from last week, just while we've got a little bit of time to go through. Spine got a qualifying ban for the next race of the attend, and Marty, I think, had a qualifying ban from a couple of weeks ago, which is why he came in the pit lane and retired into the pits as well. But Izzat now, the Singaporean, coming now through the right-hander at turn number 14 at the final corner, famously where Vettel nearly crashed in the wall in 2014, I think it was, around here. As Izzat now comes to the line, 15.5, slowest out of everyone that has had a lap so far. Cucumber as well, potentially with all the spices in the mix here tonight as well from the Alfa Romeo on the run down and towards the left-hander at turn number 2. See what the Alfa Romeo man can do out on track. But Montana leading the way from Gary in second, Yildirim in third. Not many drivers actually in the lap time at this stage here in qualifying in Hungary. 27 flat from Cucumber in the first sector. Sprint, the sprint race, of course, on in real life as well. I will bring you up to date with that right now because I'm filming it now on Twitter, and Liam Lawson did have a moment, I believe, and the safety car that came in, and of course, I think he might have had an incident at somewhere on the track. I'm just going to have a look and see where this might have been. Turn 2, so that's actually exit of turn number 2, that's the left-hander, so very, very strange from him. Cucumber, by the way, setting the timing screen to light here in qualifying. Purple middle sector from him, probably purple on his own lap, I think, in regards to this. But Montana out on top, Gary second, Yildirim there in third. Cucumber now around the final corner on the run to the line, and he goes quickest. Wow, so actually the timing screens I don't think were lying there through the middle sector. So Cucumber quicker than Montana. Cucumber, of course, a shadow of his former self, I've got to be honest, this season. He's there in the top 5 though in the championship, but he has looked a little bit under pressure, has the Canadian. So Cucumber there out on top, Montana there in second, Russell there in third. Verstappen now coming through the right-hander in towards the chicane in turn 6 and 7. We're right on board with the AlphaTauri, car number 78. So now comes through the left-hander of turn number 8, through the right-hander of turn number 9. That's the other AlphaTauri getting out the way of, that was Gary getting out the way on his out lap. Verstappen though, through the middle sector split, 53.7 in the middle sector, so not looking too bad at all. Cucumber leading the way from Montana second, Nathan there currently in third. It's going to come through the left-hander of turn number 13. Up to try and take second, third gear. I found this out in my practice a little bit early on. Do not take second gear all the way through that corner, otherwise you'll end up spinning. Such a shame from him. Justus now goes quicker though. Verstappen to the line goes 6th. Not a bad lap there at all. Gary just starting up in behind him as well. Just trying to see if there's anybody else on lap. Matthias, I think, has just backed off his lap. And Maledictus in the other McLaren is 28.3 in the first sector. I think he's just came off a lap. How's the Portuguese man? The man that is currently driving for the GTZ Bulls. And GTZ Bulls, of course, formerly in EML Premier 1 back in the day as well. Might be a throwback to some of you that are tuning in to the stream here tonight. But Justus out on top, from Cucumber in second, Montana there in third. Championship protagonist to the fore early on here in Hungary. So yeah, 8 minutes gone through the session. Justus from Cucumber, from Montana top 3. Gasly has gone around the outside of somebody. Liam Lawson got beached in the gravel through turn number 2, which is why that happened. And Russell has gone past Piastri for P1 as well. The sprint race looking very, very interesting indeed in terms of real life. Of course, here in qualifying in the sim world, Eustace from Cucumber from Montana, the top 3 as it stands. As Montana actually goes quicker, so 10th and a half up on his lap time there, 14.6, and not about that there at all from the man in the Aston Martin. Doing better than Lance Stroll, at least. Lance Stroll throwing a bit of a tantrum because Daddy owns the Daddy owns the team, I should say. But Lance Stroll, of course, throwing the toys out of the pram, throwing the steering wheel out of the car, quite literally, at the end of qualifying, at the end of him being knocked out. Montana not doing such a thing. Spine potentially is, though, obviously with that qualifying ban a little bit later on. And I think, as well, Stroll didn't actually go to the weighbridge last night either, after qualifying had finished. So, yeah, Stroll, I don't know why he's in the team. I mean, he's in the team because of Daddy, of course, but you never know. I think, honestly, give Drugovich or Jessica Hawkins, I think, the role potentially as Aston Martin driver. Jessica Hawkins apparently was quicker than Lance Stroll in terms of simulator time, so I heard, certainly on from my sources that I was seeing on Twitter as well. Sweet Crown is on a lap, coming through the right-hander at turn number 14 in the Red Bull. The second Red Bull out on track tonight. Of course, the other one being Rocco, who hasn't had a lap time so far, but a 10th position there for Sweet Crown. 15.3, not a bad lap there at all from the man in the Red Bull. Felipe as well, just backing off on a lap, 27.7 in the first sector, nowhere near what he was setting through the first sector. Should be around 27 flats, 27 ones, maybe even a 26.9 to the first sector of points here in Hungary, but 8 minutes to go. Eustace out on top, Montana second, Cucumber there in third in this early stage. I believe Lifeboat has just gone on to another run. The former ET8 man, I think, Lifeboat, of course. I'm just going to quickly check that I'm making sure I'm getting that right, because I know somebody in the chat for Legacy Division was like, no, Lifeboat's on a different team now. But yeah, Lifeboat is in ET8, I should say. He's a current ET8 driver, 26.9 in the first sector, not looking too bad, but he's looking very bad now because he's got egg on his face. Nearly more egg on his face there through turn number 5 as well. Good recovery from him. And a bit of an invalidation there coming out of turn number 5. And nearly kills the camera there as he comes through camera shot in that middle sector. But Lifeboat there in 8th position. E8 man, of course, out on track. And he'll be hoping to try and get some really good racing out on track. Was 4th behind Tactician and behind RCR King in PSGL F6 this season as well. No sign of Michael Combs just yet in Mr. Kvyat Killer. I'm sure he'll be keeping me up to date in terms of his whereabouts and hopefully in terms of him joining me in the session very soon indeed. He said about midway through quali. We are about midway through quali now, so we should be seeing him join, I would hope, very, very soon indeed. But yeah, Eustace out on top, Montana second, Cucumber third. Looks like the drivers are now going to go for their third runs. Lifeboat looks like he's going again. We're right above with Nathan though, who's purple in the first sector. So he's now coming through the chicane at 6 and 7, then through the left-hander turn number 8, through the right-hander turn number 9. Not looking too bad at all from Nathan. A little bit wide on exit there, coming through the corner. I managed to do that and get an invalidation through there as well earlier on. 53.4 though in the middle sector, much more like it from Nathan. Going to be troubling potentially Eustace Montana with his lap so far as he now comes in toward the left-hander. Turn number 13, second gear, very high second gear, very minimal throttle though on the input through turn number 3, through third gear into turn 13, then through the final corner through turn 14. Nathan's really putting it up here with Eustace on the run to the line, goes third behind Montana, not a bad lap there at all. Eustace has just started up on his lap as well, and he's a 26.9 in the first sector. I think Nathan just slightly getting it in terms of first sectors, but Eustace up in the first sector, might not need the improvement though, as Montana is currently on an outlap as well. He might need that improvement though as the session goes on a little bit later on indeed. Eustace out on top, 10th of a second up, 53.2 in the middle sector. Montana there in second, Nathan there in third as we now come through the left-hander of turn number 13, then through the right-hander of turn number 14. Mr. Kvyat Killer is here now in the chat, which I'm delighted to say. We'll just commentate this through on with Eustace coming through the final corner on the run to the line. Is he going to go quicker? Yes, he does. 14.4, potentially putting out of sight. 2/10 of a second to Montana. Montana, however, 27 flat in the first sector and it's up. It's Eustace out on top for Montana second, then Nathan in third. And I'm joined by Mr. Kvyat Killer. Killer, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Excited to be here. Apologies, it's belated. Thank you for stepping in. Eustace on pole from Montana. It all sounds very familiar. Just loading in now. Is it dry?
It is.
Oh,
it is. Dry. It's fully dry.
Happy days. Happy days. Oh, that's Gary up in 5th. I'm shocked.
Yeah, Jav has been saying about that, actually, saying Gary potentially is going to go for the race red. I'm not sure if he's got a bit of inside knowledge, potentially, in terms of his performance. But put it this way, in the middle sector, 53.3 in the middle sector. It's not bad at all from the Irishman. He's looking to go around Nathan Montana sort of area. Looking good with 4.5 minutes to go in this session. It's just us from Cucumber and Montana, the top two. But Gary potentially pulling it up with his former teammate Montana. And I wouldn't have not expected that in the slightest.
Well, let's see where he goes. I think he's finishing up. He is. He does 14.699. He beats out Nathan. That's an impressive lap from Gary. And Cucumber's nipped into P2 as well. These guys down the bottom. What's happened to Spine and Marty? Their qualifying bans there, or is that they had a crash?
Yeah, Spine had a qualifying ban for blocking in qualifying, I think, last week in Britain. And Marty, I think, had an outstanding qualifying ban from a couple of weeks ago.
Ah, well, I was just on board with Rocco, I think, is starting a lap. No, he's not. He's finishing a lap. Felipe's finishing a lap, though. As a yellow flag, I've not put my track map up yet. I'm very hectic. That's a Red Bull. That is Rocco, who I just left on board with. And Felipe nearly dropped out of the last corner as well. But I think he's going to improve. He does by a tenth. Doesn't find him many places. He stays P13.
Yeah, not about that there at all, though, from Felipe. Felipe has been struggling, I've got to be honest, in D1 this season. He's about a second off the pace compared to the front runners. Rocco, by the way, was the one that lost it coming through turn number 5, as I've dubbed Car Killer Corner out on track, because you could see a few safety cars being deployed there. Campbell looks like he's just gone for a little bit of gravel running, it looks like, on his Mercedes. Certainly a lot of gravel on the side of his car. Campbell there in 12th, fresh from a podium finish, of course, last season. Down in 12th, though, 15.4, a second off the pace. Not the sort of the experience that Campbell likes to see. Should be a lot quicker than that, as Nathan's retired out of the session in the pit lane.
Wonder if he's wanting to protect some tyres. I'll be honest, I don't know what the strategy is. I've been very out of the loop this week. I can't see why else he would retire in the pit lane, unless he wants to keep a set of softs for the race. Maybe it's a soft-medium kind of track. I don't know. Who's going to be first to start their lap? I have a feeling it's going to be Sweet Crown. So he's the furthest along, 2 minutes 40 to go. Everyone seems to be saving their laps for the most part, though, for right at the end, don't they?
Yeah, definitely so. And yeah, in terms of certainly some of the prediction that I've been doing in terms of my practice around here, I've done about 70 laps of practice, by the way, so far. Maybe even more to come as well for D2. For D4 even. You're in wish. D2, of course. Yeah, I wish I was in D2. But yeah, in terms of the compounded tyres, hard compounded tyres, I've found about 19, 20 laps on that set of hards. Medium compounded tyres last well into around 15, 16 laps. Softs probably around 11 or 12. The soft compounded tyres, that protection maybe for Gary and Nathan, certainly in terms of that compound, might be hards to softs towards the end of the race. That's my theory around it. It's just outside on top though from Cucumber second. Montana there in third. Sweet Crown is indeed on at 15.3 through the right-hander of turn number 3 up the hill now and towards turn number 4. Of course, track limits being monitored at this part of the track, and he's 400s up through the first sector. Is a Slovenian, runs slightly wide through turn number 4, but not looking too bad so far on his lap. He's got an Alpine in the way, and that, I think, is the other one of... And I'm just trying to have a look. Who's the other Alpine? It is Justas on that lap. Get out of the way.
Sweet Crown gave turn 4's curb a very wide berth and used all of the curb on the inside at turn 3. I found using the curb at turn 2, tends to spit you out a little bit, but it's working for him because he's nearly 0.2 of a second up, which will put him around about Verstappen. And I wonder if that's why Gary and Nathan have retired, because they've looked at that gap they've got behind them. It's nearly 0.4 between Nathan and Verstappen, and thought, you know what, that's enough margin that I don't think we need to go again. Fair enough if they've taken that risk. Let's see if Sweet Crown goes into that gap. He does a 15.196. He is 1/1000th quicker than Jewel Bream, but Jewel Bream is behind him and improving right now.
Yeah, he is 400ths per second up on his lap coming through the right-hand out, and he's 2.5 tenths up, so he's definitely going to be improving above Sweet Crown right now. Maybe even into the gap between Nathan and Verstappen. Verstappen as well on a lap. He's coming through the first couple of corners, I believe, on his run. Justas as well is on a run. He's coming through the middle sector, so it'll be interesting to see how he's getting on in terms of this lap time. Yilbeam there coming across the line goes 6th position, so 10th of a second off on the back of Nathan. Justas is indeed through the first sector split, and he looked purple to me in the first sector. Cloud is beginning to build over the circle. Montana on a lap as well, but there are cars coming to the line.
Yeah, Lifebout's just gone P6. Verstappen's up by 8/100 through the first sector. Yastas is actually down by 6/100ths. Let's see what's going on for Montana. Checkered flag's gone. Campbell went invalid on his last lap. He's gone again on the second lap on that set. Montana isn't improving through the middle sector.
He's not indeed, yeah. 10th and a half down. Justas invalid as well, coming to the left-hander. I think that was a turn number 9. So that right-hander really catching him out. Montana's in the pit lane. He is done. Cucumber the only one that can actually find something. And he's found 43/100ths in the first sector. So at this moment in time, in theory, as Verstappen there is in 9th position to the line, goes 6th position. So good luck from him. 14.8, looking a lot closer actually now in qualifying. Campbell 3.5 up as well. He's now coming through the final corner. The Scotsman on the run to the line. Goes 8th ahead of Yilbrim, so actually fits in between a very minute gap. Cucumber, though, is up again in the middle sector. 400ths up in the middle sector. Could this be the NSX man, but not the one you're expecting on pole position? Let's find out. Coming through the left-hander at turn number 13. Very thin third gear taken through there. Might have actually cost him a bit of time rather than gained. As Justas there out on top. Just needs to find 5,000ths of a second as Cucumber. On the run to the line goes the Alfa Romeo, and he doesn't. He goes 1,500ths behind. Justas out on top. Cucumber in second, Montana there in third. Cucumber Trotters, it might be Justas' on pole.
Oh, that is a nice top 3, and then Gary in fourth. But that is... I would like to see what Campbell could have done, because he did that lap. That was the second lap on those tyres. He would have backed off on the first one, but I wonder if there was a little bit more time in there for Campbell. In the end, we said there was that gap between Gary, Verstappen and everyone else. In the end, it ended up getting completely filled, and Verstappen almost got swallowed up by it. But AlphaTauri, I think I'd say the stars of that qualifying session. For me, 4th and 6th, Gary and Verstappen, very impressive. But Justas, he's been on a bit of a dip lately, but back on top now.
Yeah, a bit of a dip last week, certainly, from Justas' perspective. Drove very well to actually get a real good recovery drive going in Silverstone, but he does come out on top in qualifying. It's the race that matters, though. Cucumber there in second, 1,500ths of a second behind, and less than a 10th covering them, and Montana in P3. Then Gary in fourth, big chasm of a gap like a Grand Canyon between Montana and Gary. Then Nathan in fifth, then Verstappen in sixth. Lifebed in seventh, PSGL 6-man there ahead of Campbell, defending champion, of course, coming into the season. Yilbrim is at top 10, then it's Pease, Sweetcrown, Matthias, Felipe and Rocco top 15. Spine and Maledictus didn't actually get a lap time set in, the Portuguese man. Spine and Marty, of course, had qualifying bans. One for existing in Marty, and one, of course, for blocking and qualifying from Spine last week as well. But Montana holding a 42-point advantage coming in tonight, starting P3. Is that a ploy from the man who's in the championship lead to maybe gain Justas some points?
I find this a tricky one to call, because I mean, I didn't see how the early runs went. I feel like track position is king at Hungary. I think Justas is probably, you never want to be behind the person you're fighting with, no matter what the track is. And I think Justas has laid down a bit of a marker there. It's only a small one, 15,000, but I think Montana thought this championship was going his way the last few weeks, and Justas has swung it back, which excites me greatly, because it was starting to feel like it was going to be, it threatened to be an amazing title fight, like Montana and M Short nearly was, and now it's coming back to Justas again, and I like that.
Yeah, definitely. I was panicking there. I was thinking the 5 red lights are going to go up very soon. But remember, we've got the formation up here in League of Europe, as well as no restart, which is actually very much nice indeed. But looking at the split up in terms of the strategies, and there is quite a lot of colours there in terms of the compound attire. We'll run through the ones that are on the thinner, more compound attire first. Verstappen, Spine and Marty, the 3 that are on a set of soft compound attire. Verstappen will be making certainly to look ground very early on in this race. What's that? 6 drivers on the set of hards. Justas, Cucumber, then Izat, Felipe, Rocco and Maledictus all on the set of hards, and everyone else, Montana, Gary, Russell, Lifeboat, Campbell, Yilbrim, Pease, Sweetcrown and Matthias, all on that set of medium compound attire. Says one-stop strategy, lap 17 to 23 on my end. Pretty much spot on with what I was doing. I had about 55% tyre wear by 19 laps on a set of hards. That was literally taking them full throttle as well. No safety car intermissions either, but the safety car intermission potentially could bring a change up in the tyres and actually get people further into the race as well. As apparently Sergio Perez has crashed out in Qatar.
He has. He's had a crash with Esteban Ocon and doesn't look too happy about it. What I was going to say, actually, I've just noticed, is we've had 6 winners in the last 6 races. We've had Nathan, we've had Montana, we've had Sweet Crown, we have had Campbell, we have had Connor, and we have had Justas. I would like to say it's going to be a 7th winner in 7 races, but that would rely on Gary or Verstappen or Lifebout or Jules Bremen. I don't have too much hope there, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go all in. Gary's winning this race. QBR Gary's winning this race. I'm going in.
You and Jav, or I'm not sure what's in the water tonight with you and Jav, but you and Jav are pretty much on the same wavelength, which is very rare, I think, in League of You would put it that way. Gary, of course, starting in 4th position. I'm going to go for a very unique top 3 and say Montana's going to win, Justas are going to be 2nd, and watch out for Verstappen in 3rd, as the 5 red lights are about to go out here in Hungary at Magnon Adadec at the Hungaroring. The 5 red lights now coming on in the gantry, and it is eventually going to be lights out, away we go, and it's a good start actually from Russell. Gets off the line very, very well indeed in the mid-pack, but Justas and Cucumber side by side down in the hill in towards turn 1. Montana will try and make it through wide around the outside in towards turn 1. Bit of a dive there from a Haas in the background as well of Pease, but Cucumber there leading the way. Justas is still side by side. Gary and Montana making contact just in the background. A shot that's put them on the back foot, but Justas now leads in towards turn number 2. Cucumber still there on the outside line. Alfa Romeo shot out of room and the Alpine now through. Cucumber there in 2nd, Montana there in 3rd, Nathan now up to 4th. Gary must have a little bit of damage potentially on that car, certainly struggling in the early stages. Verstappen in the background as well. Campbell side by side with Yildirim as he comes through turn number 4. Everyone's clean through. Campbell trying to actually outlast around the outside of Yildirim, doesn't manage it. Halfway through the lap, Justas leads, Cucumber 2nd, Montana in 3rd, but you mentioned that there was contact.
Yeah, it was just all got a little bit argy-bargy with Gary, Nathan and Montana through turns 1 and 2, and Gary almost risked locking wheels with Montana, could have spun the Aston Martin round. Luckily, they all kept going, but other than that, it's been a fairly tidy first lap. Although there's a Ferrari up in the background, that is Marty going very wide at turn 11, and he's doing well, yeah, with that front wing depleted, and he wisely lets Maledictus go. This is the race. Rocco's down in 16th right now. I'm going to be completely random, talk about Rocco on lap 1 here, as he's battling with Felipe. Rocco's going to end up finishing 5th or 6th in this race. You just know, aren't you? Absolutely nowhere on pace, and then Rock's up at the front there or thereabouts. So we've got some battling at the front with the 2 AlphaTauris. It's Verstappen on the softs, passes Gary on the mediums. I have a feeling that might be orchestrated given the tyre situation. And Nathan's looking quite interested at the back of Montana as well.
Yeah, he is indeed. He was looking around the outside of turn number 1. Didn't quite get the move done. Felipe dropped to the back of the field there. I'm not sure if he's got a little bit of outstanding damage on that car. Certainly dropped back behind Maledictus as well. Marty there certainly in the lane. Left side end plate damage on his car. So that's why he is back into the pit lane. But Justas leading by around 1 minute 19.2 seconds. It's not. It's about 4/10 of a second he's got over Justas. Barely a hair's breadth between them both. Montana there in 3rd. Russell in 4th. Verstappen there in 5th as it stands. Position changes early on. He's made up very good ground in towards turn 1. I think he made 3 moves, potentially in towards turn 1 himself. He's up into 8th position. Also moves gained as well from the likes of Spine, who's gained 2. Most of them have gained 1. Nathan, Verstappen, Sweet Crown and Maledictus all gaining 1 positions respectively. But Verstappen certainly on the back of Nathan. Those softs need to really last, I think, in this first half of the race. Trying to look to the inside line there and towards turn number 13. That would have been quite idealistic if you want to try and get that move done. Now coming through the right-hander of turn number 14 at the final corner. Justas leading from Cucumber 2nd, Montana in 3rd. And of course, we do not get DRS range until we go on the next lap. So we actually get DRS on lap 4 around here.
Yeah, just the 1 detection zone, and it's before turn 14. That's not really an overtaking place, so it doesn't make too much difference anyway. Justas and Cucumber are doing well on the hard tyres just to consolidate their advantage. They've not let the medium or the soft runners nip ahead of them. They're kind of just backing the field up and waiting for their tyres to come into play, which I think is the right way about it. Cucumber's not risking letting Montana or Nathan have a whiff of the lead of the race. They're just following along nicely, and I think they're playing this well, the hard runners, so far. Of course, the only thing that can do them wrong right now is a safety car, and we have all 18 drivers still running, and the more cars you have running, the more risk there is of a safety car, of course. An early one will impact those hard runners worse than those behind them, I should think.
Yeah, and to be honest as well, I've been practicing around this track as well. You seem to be a lot more on the limit around here in Hungary compared to previous game cycles, and I think that is going to be really unique to this circuit and really unique to the sort of driving that we come to expect as well. Cucumber on the back of Justas, potentially going to go for the move for the race lead. He is going to try and charge at him down in towards turn one, closing in. Closing in, is he going to risk it for Chocolate Biscuit to the inside line? In towards turn number one goes the Alfa Romeo, the Alpine on the outside line. He will have a second dose of DRS detection, and he's on the outside line still, but I think he's going to let this one go. Justas will lead in towards turn number two, but Cucumber tries to hang it all the way around the outside, and he doesn't. Justas there leads the Lithuanian out on top from Cucumber in second. Both on the set of hard compound tyres early on as well. Everyone else on the set of mediums don't seem to be really running and working at the minute. Felipe's back into the pit lane again, so medium compound tyres not going according to plan. And Felipe, put it this way, his performance so far, get him down to D4, I'll take him on.
I'd like you to repeat that back to him, because I'm sure he will be delighted to hear it. I don't know why Cucumber feels... I mean, I'd said that whole thing about them staying together and just working together, and then Cucumber tried what was a half-hearted, almost on, but not really kind of moving to turn one. I don't think there's any advantage for Cucumber right now in running at the lead of this race. He's not going to be significantly quicker than Justas. He's not going to pull away, because we know how quick Justas is, and he's... I don't see an advantage here in Cucumber trying to force this move. If it's, like, unavoidable that he has to overtake Justas because of the advantage he's got, fair enough. But, like, in this situation, he doesn't need to force a move here. He will, but he doesn't need to.
No, I don't think... yeah, he's going to sit him behind this time around. I think it's a smart move to do, because ERS... You lose about 10% in terms of ERS, so about 10% of that ERS you actually burn up in terms of a lap around here, and it's even less than that as well in terms of actually gaining the battery back, so it depends all on usage around this track. Spine, by the way, I got through on Matthias, I think, down in towards turn number 2, so that is him through, and he's into 13th position. But yeah, I've found around a lap, whenever you're not using the battery around here, it's somewhere between 8 and 10% you're going to be saving in terms of the battery. You're not saving that much battery compared to other tracks, to be honest, so therefore you've got to not only be careful on the ERS. I was very uncareful in terms of my fuel usage. I put a lap extra fuel in, and I nearly run out coming through the final corner on the final lap of the race. So fuel as well, something to talk about, because they're just going flat out around here. And if they have not, if they've got basically an underfueled car, they're going to be struggling for fuel towards the end.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Nathan is, if anyone knows the fuel situation, it's Nathan. He's on plus 1.89 laps right now. Justas has half a lap less. He's on plus 1.45. So maybe Justas is banking on a safety car, or he's just better with fuel. Everyone else is running close to plus 2 laps. We're on lap 6. They will have burnt some of that away already. So yeah, that is an interesting point to raise, and thank you for pointing out, because I don't know what fuel to run in D2 later, so now I do know. Around 2 laps. Verstappen's running a little heavier, Gary's running lighter 1.6. It is interesting to see how gutsy they are with their fuel and who's in the know and who's not. Those soft tyres of Verstappen seem to be doing a good job though, don't they? He's not slipping back from Nathan, he's staying very close, within 4 tenths, as are most of them up front right now.
Yeah, definitely. So, that's Nathan actually running off track there in the background. Verstappen right on the back of him now, coming through the right-hand of turn number 5. And speaking of running wide, there's Cucumber running wide as well, coming through turn number 5 as well. So he's put now on the back foot. This is Justas' chance now. He's got a little bit less fuel. I think now try and gap him outside of a second and let Montana come and chase you down. That's what I think Justas' plan potentially now could be. He's realised that Cucumber made the mistake. Still 6/10 of a second, but if Cucumber makes another mistake through these final couple of corners, Justas could be outside of DRS range to him. Not going to be on this time around, but Justas could have just potentially thought, yeah, I've got the pace over him. I know where his mistakes are happening. There's another one coming to the left-hander of turn number 13. And that's what I say, Cucumber looking a little bit sketchy on the lap. Montana now might have to be forced into the move, but I think Cucumber down the straight is actually making up for that in terms of straight line speed, and remain as we are. But Campbell, though, on the back of Yildirim, running down the straight in towards turn number 1. Mercedes on the inside line, Haas on the outside. Should be easy enough for Campbell to sneak up the inside line. Yildirim will have a little bit of extra ERS to try and burn down the hill, but as Campbell through and he's into 9, very easily done by the Scotsman.
Yeah, Julian having a bit of a shoddy exit out of turn 1. Lifeboat struggling as well. He's about to get gapped to DRS, and I mentioned, as soon as I talk something up, the opposite happens, because I said Verstappen was doing well with soft tyres. He's now slipping away from the top 4, and he's risking dragging Gary out of contention with him. But the trouble is, if the AlphaTauri slow down and swap places back, they're still going to be out of DRS range. So they're in a bit of a catch-22 here with Verstappen ahead of Gary, because whichever way this goes down, whether they swap places or Verstappen just carries on, they're going to end up cutting themselves off from the front four here, because it does seem to be those soft tyres are just on the edge of giving up. Verstappen and Lifebout are in a tricky spot right now.
Yeah, and if anybody is watching from D2 or D4 a little bit later on, probably not the best idea to go on to set us off compound size at the start of the race. I would not be surprised if Verstappen actually stays out there for a little bit longer, makes another 3 laps out of them, then decides to come in the pit lane to try and get a set of hard compound tyres to the end. Here comes Gary now, overtaking him to the inside line, down in towards turn 1, easy as you like, but the Irishman now is forced into the chase as Pease is getting the move done on Nightbat in towards turn 1, and that was Campbell trying to eye up a move as well. Just in the background, the Mercedes against the Red Bull, the Ferrari even, in towards turn 1, the Red Bull in behind. There was Sweet Crown is looking for the inside in towards turn number 2 on the back of Yildirim. Yildirim runs out wide, snips up the inside line to Sweet Crown. Easy move. Yildirim does not fight that. Yildirim's tyres going off the cliff, it seems to there. And Sweet Crown now Thuni's into 10th and Pease as well. Thuni's into 7th as well, and he's now trying to hunt down the back of Verstappen. But Justas leading the way. Cucumber in second, Montana there in third. Jav saying in the chat, Killer Blue knows that the wheel is stronger apparently than the pad around here, which is a proven fact, which means I'm going to struggle a little bit later on in terms of my race. Perez also out in Qatar, and also there's only 3 laps to go in that race, I believe, in the sprint. Here we've still got, what, 2/3 of race distance to go as Verstappen, sorry, that wasn't Verstappen, that was Lifebout running wide at turn number 11.
The AlphaTauri situation I mentioned last lap, Gary had 100% ERS when he passed Verstappen, or as he passed Verstappen, he hadn't been using it at all. He's now down to 54%. He's had to absolutely go hell for leather on this lap to keep himself with Nathan. In the end, he just ended up dropping Verstappen. I don't think the soft tyre option really worked for Verstappen, unless, I don't know how big, if you know how big the undercut is, he gets a mammoth undercut here. Spine's in as well, the other soft runner, as Campbell passes Lifebout just about into turn 1. And Cucumber very close to Justas again. Look at that, within 0.2 of a second there into turn 2. They've both gone on to mediums, have Verstappen and Spine. So they're going soft medium. They're going to need an absolutely banging lap. I'm going to stick gap to leader on and keep an eye on Verstappen's pace relative to Justas up top.
Yeah, potential 2-stop as well around this track is not actually out of the question as well in Hungary. The tyres, for a set of medium compounded tyres, they're going to last about 15 or 16 laps. So going on a set of mediums, unless they're going to be predicting another safety car later on, it's going to put them further on the back foot in the long term. So I'm not really sure why they've done that, to be honest. To go on that set of mediums, maybe it's to get another set of softs to the end of the race, but they go off at about a 7 or 8% tyre ratio around here, so it is going to be very close. Speaking of close, Yildirim on the back of Sweet Crown on the back of Lifebout as well. PSGL F6 man just beginning to lose a little bit of a train in behind, or cause a bit of a train in behind, I should say. Sweet Crown on the back coming through the left-hander of turn number 13. Red Bull looking towards trying to dice his way for a move potentially down in towards turn number 1. Cucumber though on the back of Justas in towards turn number 1 is going to look for the late lunge in towards turn 1. Not quite. Sweet Crown's going to look for the move though down the straight on the back of Lifebout, and do you know what? Yildirim is going to follow suit as well to the inside line in towards turn 1. Easy as you like. It's like taking candy from a baby, or like taking candy from a Ferrari. In this case, it is Yildirim and Sweet Crown through into 8th and 9th respectively.
Right, I have a feeling, I know I'm obsessed with these AlphaTauris, Verstappen's going to be a bit of a disruptor here. He was 23.2 behind Justas. He's now 21.3. He's taken 2 seconds out of Justas since he came out of the pits. Gary's only 2 seconds off the lead, and Verstappen was 1 second behind Gary when he came in. 2 more laps at this pace, Verstappen could find himself, albeit in an unfavourable tyre situation, but a net leader of this race. And Spine, if he keeps up at that pace as well, could be in the position where he's around, Pease, Campbell, Sweet Crown position. I don't think he's going to win the race, but Verstappen could put himself in a position to lead it for at least a short while at his current pace, because he's now 20.2 off the lead. He's taken 3 seconds out of Justas since he pitted.
Yeah, first up, of course, always going to be quicker than everyone, and it is around about a 2 seconds gain from a set of mediums, just set of hards per lap around here, then it drops off to around about the second and a half, so I think that's what you're seeing now in terms of Verstappen. Matthias, by the way, on the back of the Singaporean of Izzat, further down the field, going to look to the inside line, in towards turn number one. Not often you see Matthias going up the inside line of somebody, because he's normally right out the back of the field. Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race, though, in behind. That's harsh on Matthias, but he's through, regardless, into 11th position. Proving me wrong, proving all you guys at home wrong as well. But Justas there leading the way, Cucumber second, Montana there in third, lap 11 out of 35, about a third of the way through here. Of course, in Hungary, you'll be there running wide on the back of Sweet Crown. But yeah, everyone now just settling down, once again back into their rhythms. Looking at the ERS usage up front as well, Justas on 92% right now, Cucumber on 73, Montana on 98. So ERS usage very, very limited for 2 out of the front 3. Nathan as well, 57%. He's actually lowest, I think, out of the front 4. Gary there in 5th, 68%. So he's actually using up his battery, actually gaining some of that battery back. Verstappen, by the way, is going to be crowned champion in about a lap's time. Justas there leading the way from Cucumber in second, Montana in third. Our Verstappen, though, the gap between himself and Justas, 18.4 seconds. That's another 2 seconds in the last 2 laps.
He's 100% leading this race when Justas comes in. I think we'll get some evidence with Sweet Crown. Sweet Crown's 7 seconds off the lead, so if Sweet Crown's more than 7 seconds behind Verstappen, we know Verstappen is taking the lead of this race. We've got a yellow flag. Marty's retired, and everything I said about Verstappen goes in the bin. He was going to lead this race, and now he's been absolutely shafted. Our hard runners, though, are going to have in a tricky spot. Can they take mediums to the end of the race from here? You'd think so. Verstappen's already pitted onto them. They'll be fine. So that has completely killed the strategy element of this race, which I think was shaping up quite nicely.
Yeah, it was shaping up quite nicely as well. Max Verstappen, by the way, has been crowned 3-time Formula 1 World Champion. That is breaking news here on League of Europe Formula 1. Not that anybody gives a crap, because he was going to win the championship by a real margin anyways. Oscar Piastri, though, took the race win. That is what we should be all celebrating. His first win in Formula 1. Fantastic work from him. And McLaren front 3 as well, with Lando Norris finishing in third, Verstappen in the end getting second. I think Norris overtook the back of, I think it was one of the Ferraris, I think it was Leclerc, who he overtook on the final lap of the race. But Justas there leading from Cucumber in second, Montana there in third of the way through the race. Means everyone now on the compound of tyre have got to decide when to come in, and I think, to be honest, Killer, everyone I think is going to be into the pit lane no matter what compound of tyre you're on. Justas in, Cucumber in, Montana in, Nathan in, front 5 are certainly in, front 8 are definitely in, Lifeboat in, Matthias in, all in, and Cucumber's in, but he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits, which
he will not be able to serve, at least on the pit stop in question. So he'd have to come in again. He'd need another safety car to serve that. Campbell gets a slight hold. Gilbriam's going to get a massive hold. Lifebout's retired in... Has he crashed?
In the pit lane.
He's crashed or retired in the pit lane. He must have retired in the pause menu. He must have some other place to be, because he's immediately left the session. I think he's got some other place to be. Or the game has screwed him over with some kind of bug. Wouldn't put it past him. Verstappen, in the end, is back up to P7, but where he could have been had it not been under a safety car, he would have absolutely been leading this race, which is unfortunate for him. Justas is now behind Montana. Was he behind? He wasn't behind Montana anyway. I'm not having a fever dream, am I?
No, he wasn't. Yeah, Montana's actually got ahead, and Cucumber's actually ahead of Justas as well. Justas was leading the race, and Justas is now down in third, so I think he's been held in the pit lane by, and I'm just trying to see who might have been around his pit box, potentially by Gary in 6th position. The AlphaTauri probably would have came in the pit box after him, but it's further down the pit lane, so the AlphaTauri box might have actually held up the back of Justas. Justas there in third. He's on that set of mediums, so he's going to make up for lost time on that set of mediums, currently in the prime spot actually with Montana ahead of him. But it's now a question of if, not when, those tyres are going to get to the end of the race, because Justas It's what, 22 laps. We're going to have the safety car out at least for another 2 because Felipe is such a slow coach in behind. He's going to be taking forever, I think. Maybe coming from the Romanian border or something to try and get onto the back of the safety car right now. But Cucumber out on top of Montana second, Justus there in third. Medium compound and size. I'd still be very concerned that they're not going to get to the end of the race, even with the safety car. I think ideally they need another safety car for them just to get to the end of the race. And then you've got the whole fuel situation, which could come to blows towards the end of the race as well. As Maledictus is into the pit lane from a set of hards, he'll go on a set of mediums. He feels like he's confident to get those tyres at least to the end of the race. Sweet Crown isn't. He's back in, so might be going on a set of hards.
Yeah, I'm a little confused what the crack is with this race. Sweet Crown's gone on to hards. I wonder why. If Verstappen and Spy have just bitten the bullet and like they've accepted they're going to be a little bit mudded here, or if they think they are going to be genuinely competitive between now and the end of the race. I can't imagine those 5-lap mediums are going to be good, not just at the end of the race, but on the restart. I don't think they're going to be particularly great compared to those around them. And Gary will be very grateful that Maledictus has got out of his way, because he's now got a line of sight to the leaders and he won't get cut off. We've got 2 drivers on mediums, though, in the top. Well, yeah, the strategies are reversed. And I think, do you think Cucumber can make a break for this? I know he's got that time penalty, but irrespective of that, do you think he can make a break for it? Because he's now on the softer tyre rather than the harder tyre, like at the start of the race.
Potentially so. He's got the 5-second penalty, though. That's going to be overhanging him. So I think, if anything, he's got to try and extend out the field, basically, and just put them under the sword from a very early stage underneath the safety car. Now, I'm not sure if the safety car is going to come in this lap or not, because Felipe is taking this time about joining on the rejoining on the back of the safety car. I think it might be a very late call if we get it in. But Cucumber leading the way. He's got the 5-second penalty overhanging him. That'll be my main concern about him. His mediums are fine. He's got Montana in behind. Montana, though, does know these strategies very well indeed. As the safety car is going to come in late, it is going to be a late come in from the safety car. So virtual Burtmelon now is Cucumber. He's now the virtual safety car, and he's now coming through the left-hander at turn number 13 once again. Let's see if he's going to go and try and dice for it a little bit early. I think it's going to be sort of Magello sort of style start, I think, from Cucumber, as now comes through the final corner and actually floors it on the exit of the final corner. Has already put Montana completely within his wake. 5/10 of a second as they come across the line. Cucumber leads the way for Montana in second, Justus there in third, but Verstappen already on the back of Gary, looking to the inside line. Is that as Matthias as well, looking to the inside line, nearly towards the pit wall there. Actually, the Singaporean dives it late on the brakes in towards the inside line of turn number 1. Matthias, of course, got this job done just a couple of laps ago before the safety car came out, and Izzat repays the favour. McLaren off in the background, Maledictus just about getting those tyres warmed up to temperature, but a good restart by Cucumber, leads by 6/10 of a second, but Montana is sticking with him and looks quicker visibly in a straight line.
Once again, and frustratingly, they're all very well behaved. In real life, I'd never be one to condone crashes and drama, but, in a game where everyone is nice and safe in their fluffy socks, I do like to see a good crash. Everyone's got their pumpkin spice lattes and their fluffy socks and their gym jams behind their wheels. I think some wheel drivers even use gloves, which I find weird. They need their wintry gloves on, their autumnal pumpkin gloves. But yes, comfy as everyone is, they're a little bit too comfy, because I want something to happen in this race. I need a disruptor thrown in there. Marcy actually killed the race by retiring on track. We need someone to unkill it. We need open heart surgery right now. Cucumber leads by 7/10 of a second at the end of lap 15. And behind him, it is actually quite strong. Gary
Campbell
and Spine on, and also, Campbell on Spine, and also behind them, Rocco on dual bream as well. And look at Izzat, he's having a whiff here. Can he get something done into turn 2, or is it just going to be a clean overtake for Campbell? It is just a clean overtake for Campbell, and Izzat has to wait for an opportunity to present itself a little later on in this race.
Yeah, and we're one step closer as well to getting Campbell and Gary fighting each other, like Ireland and Scotland's going to be doing the Rugby World Cup a little bit later on as well. But Izzat on the back of Spine, still looking for that move, nearly very close to the back of him, coming through turn number 5. Do not want to get caught on that inside curve, by the way. You will end up spinning the car. I think compared to other games, though, you end up spinning a lot less, I think, on that curb compared to a little bit to earlier game cycles. Izzat, though, was still hounding all over the back of Spine. Spine, former shadow of his former self here in League of Europe, this season has not gone according to plan. Is up there in 10th position. He's back, of course, after a big, long layoff last season. Is up there trying to now put maybe these fresh mediums into working order, maybe to try and get the back of Spine. Justas as well, on the back of the championship leader Montana, could be quite close in towards turn 1. Montana again, straight line speed, absolutely phenomenal through the final corner, pulling away down the straight. Justas has got no response. Izzat, though, does have a response on the back of Spine, passes them easily down in towards turn 1. The Singaporean has got good straight line speed. Oh, as Matthias nearly locks up into the back there of Spine, now brings Rocco into play as well. Osama bin Rocco on the outside line of Matthias. 2 by 2 they go in towards turn 2. The McLaren and the Red Bull side by side. Rocco, I think, is going to hang it around the outside, and he does. Nice move that by Rocco. Through and he's into 11th on the back of Matthias, and that was all because Matthias got too hot into turn 1.
We can't be glossing over what you just said, Osama bin Rocco. Throwing shade at Rocco, throwing shade at Matt. I'd like to see who's next on your hit list. So Gary's hung with Nathan just by the absolute barest of margins, to quote the Cricket World Cup, which got underway this week. How many IRL sporting events can we reference in one stream? Verstappen is struggling on his 8-lap mediums. He's 2 seconds off his teammate. He's going to give up a place to Pease in short order, but it is still the Spine train is where the tea is at right now, the pumpkin spice latte. It is Spine from Rocco, from Matt, from Jewelbury, from Sweet Crown, and from Alex and Felipe. That little gap, if Pease passes Verstappen predictably into turn 1, if Spine gets cut adrift, is that a lunge from Osama bin Rocco there? Yeah, these guys get cut adrift. It's going to be absolute madness from them behind.
Montana.
Just as past Montana. We're slacking, James.
Run the outside of turn 3, I think that was from Justas. So maybe Montana's made a mistake through the exit of turn 2. There's contact, I think, further up the hill. Maledictus and Sweetland side by side. Maledictus in the wall, out of the race, safety car.
It is, and that was headaches all round. Somebody to take an ibuprofen. Sweet Crown and Maledictus neither just wanted to yield, and I think ultimately that was on Maledictus. He was on the outside of turn 3. You got to know when to give up. He didn't, and he's now in the wall, and we've got a safety car. Does anyone take a switch of tyres here? You'd think Verstappen and Spine surely have to, otherwise they're just going to fall down the field.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Cucumber as well could actually use this to serve up his 5-second penalty as well. I don't think he will. I think the mediums... No, actually, he's into the pit lane, so he's going to serve up this 5-second penalty. Justas now is staying out, so Cucumber's realised, I need to get rid of that 5-second penalty. I'm going to be on fresher tyres towards the end of the race. He could go another set of mediums, ideally, to the end of the race. Everyone having to stick to a Delta time in behind.
Rocco down in.
Yeah, Rocco's in, Spine in, Matthias and Yulpim all further in. So Cucumber's ideally going to be out and about 10th position, I think, here. 5-second penalty in, medium compound tyres on the car. Perfect from Cucumber's perspective. He's going to be out in 9th position, I think, coming out of the pit lane. He is indeed. So Cucumber, 9th position. That could have been a lot worse if people had not come into the pit lane. Perfect from Cucumber's perspective, and that now means he's on the fresher tyres. He's definitely one to watch out for.
I feel like I was chatting so much shit on that last lap. I missed loads of stuff happen. I'm sorry. Excuse my French. Excuse my Hungarian, I should say. So Justas is now all by himself on the mediums up front because Cucumber was his best friend. He's now got 5 hards behind him. Sweetcrown also on hards, just behind Izzat. I think this puts Cucumber in a really nice position. But he's got to do it all on track is his problem. I think it's a difficult track to overtake on, but I think if you were to take, let's say Pease, Cucumber and Izzat and Sweetcrown out of his way, the easier passes that will just see him fall back from the leaders, I think he would get past Gary, Nathan, Montana and Justas one by one. But the fact he's got to get past 8 cars, I think, is a little too much, because by the time he gets to Gary, probably those top 3 will have checked out a little bit. So, I don't know. I want to be ballsy again and say Cucumber's going to win this race, but I'm gonna be bored. I'm gonna say Justas. I've changed my mind from Gary to Justas at this point.
He's on that sort of medium compound sizes, yes. So short term, I think it'll be a brilliant ploy. Longer term, fuel concern and the tyres as well. That is a little bit too gung-ho, I think, is what the word I'm going to use. Justas in the lead. He's going to be better short term, but you saw under that first safety car restart that the drivers on that compounder tyre didn't, like the likes of Montana, for example, just stuck with on that sort of hard compounder tyre. So there's no real advantage, I think, to try and get away. We saw with Cucumber underneath that safety car restart, Montana there in second, stuck with him all the way through. So Montana on the back of Justas this time around for this safety car restart. It's going to be intriguing to see what Justas does. Does he do the same as what Cucumber did, go through the final corner, or does he go a little bit later on? By the way, 14 people tuned into the stream. Where have you been, you ultimate slackers? Justas leading the way from Montana second, Nathan there in third. Equaz saying in the chat that Cucumber can do it. Yeah, I feel confident that Cucumber can do it. He's got to be on about 10-15% less tyre wear towards the end of the race as everyone else in front of him. If that is not a reason to back him, I don't know what is.
I had a thought queued up and ready to go, and I've forgotten what it is. So that's... Oh, yeah, I know what it is. I say, if I'm Justas, I'm going to go really, really, really slowly. Like 50, 60 kph. Luco 5 HD, safety car, restart speeds. And go as early as possible. Go in the middle of one of those corners. The trouble here is this third sector is so short, you don't get much backing up to do. But, yeah, I would go very slowly, which is something Justas is actually... doing a little bit, but I'd still go. Oh yes, this is what I'm liking, James. 60 kph.
Yeah, about 40 miles an hour on average, I think he's running right now, is Justas, but he is the virtual Mobile Islander. He is now the virtual safety car again. And it's the second time we've had one out on track. Safety car is now coming into the pit lane. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, and Justas now has already decided to go, coming out through the final corner. So he hasn't gone slow, he's gone as quick as possible, try and string the field out, and that is not a bad strategy at all, especially when you've got the championship leader behind you by 0.7 of a second nearly coming across the line. So Justas has flown across the line to start lap number 21. Cucumber in the meantime on the back of Sweet Crown. His first victim is going to become likely Cucumber to the inside line at turn number 1, and it's easy as you like from the man in 8th position, the NSX man through, but he has got a big string of a gap now to try and gain on the back of Izzat. Sweet Crown will try and come back at him in towards turn number 2, but not quite close enough. Cucumber now can use his tyres, use his advantage to good effect. He's got a little bit of time ahead of him. Verstappen this time looking to the outside line through turn number 3. Beautiful switchback. Sweet Crown has been sold like an absolute spring chicken there. Verstappen through, and he's into 9th. And Sweet Crown should just pack up and go home after getting done by that.
I thought they'd pay dividends. I didn't think they'd pay this many dividends, the fresh medium tyres, because that was so easy for Verstappen. You know, Sweet Crown's tyres are not ancient. He's now been mugged off by Rocco as well. He's not running damage. This is far too straightforward. Gilbream, what is he doing there? That's opportunism in the extreme on Matt. Izzat picks up a penalty. Is Gilbream going to have a send here on Spine into turn 12? No, he's not, but he wanted to. The track's not wide enough. And they're all just hoarding their way to try and get past this stricken, sickly Red Bull of Sweet Crown. It's got absolutely no performance whatsoever. Justas, 1.2 seconds clear at the end of the first restart lap as we start lap 22. And here comes Spine, and here comes Gilbream to attack that Red Bull into turn 1.
And Cucumber as well on the back of his up through turn number 1 as well. I think he got that job done on the exit of the corner. Izzat's going to be side by side with him, but we could have 3 wide down the straight here and towards turn number 2 between Sweet Crown, Yildirim and Spine. Somebody's let the ghost of Sergio Perez out on the Red Bull in front because he is really struggling on that sort of hard compounder tyres. Yildirim though around the outside of Spine. Beautiful move. Is he going to go for the hill and towards turn number 4? I've seen plenty of moves around the outside here in my league racing commentary lifetime, but we're not going to get that one there. Spine though runs out wide and now brings Matthias into play in all of this battle as well. But Cucumber through on the back of his up. That 5-second penalty inside. Looking now for obviously coming back in the pit lane. That looks a real joy from his perspective. He looks so quick now. Campbell up next. Campbell there in 6th position has got 2 positions to the battle of the Gaelics potentially between the Irishman and the Scotsman. But here comes Cucumber to the inside line. Should be easy as like, yeah, Campbell will not fight this, and Cucumber through, and he's into 6th, and he's making mincemeat of these guys right now.
The trouble for Cucumber, is he's already 5.1 seconds off the leader. That is spying up the inside of turn 13. He forces Sweet Crown to the extremities of the track, and now Matt's going to try and mug him off around the outside of turn 14 as well. Sweet Crown's defending valiantly, and Matt into the wall. He's lost his front wing. That could be a VSC, potentially. No, but he's lost his front wing. He'll be furious, will Matt, with Sweet Crown there. Sweet Crown, he's losing places left, right and centre. He's fighting like crazy for P13. Madness from both of the Dutchies there. But look at let's do it again. Cucumber now on the back of Peas up the hill as Verstappen dispatches Izat.
To the inside line, side by side up towards the hill. Turn number 4, Verstappen shooting, going to hang this around the outside line. Izat gets a 3-second penalty. Rocco around the outside as well. Takes full opportunism out of that bit of contact, and that is Rocco Thuni's into 9th Verstappen there in 8th position. And after that, my Osama bin Rocco comment, I think that's coming back to bite me, because Rocco's actually driving pretty well here tonight. They're in 9th position. Cucumber on the back of Peas now. Cucumber looking for his next victim. He's got Gary ahead of him as well. Campbell not living up with the pace of this, but the Dutchman now to the inside line. This should be easy. Peas will fight this though. Actually, he doesn't. Cucumber through, and he's into bit. Job done. And Yildirim as well, the other Haasman, getting up the inside of the Singaporean. That is job done. Back quickly to the battle with Matthias and Sweet Crown, of course, a little bit earlier on. Sweet Crown actually forced Matthias off track. He got caught Tony Hawk style on the outside curb, and Sweet Crown just gave him a slight nudge on the outside. So I think the stewards will look at that harshly. I think that potentially could be a penalty coming Sweet Crown's way.
I think so. On first viewing, I would say my take was that was Sweet Crown's fault. Matt retires in the pit lane. Montana's not looking completely happy on his hard tyres. Just nipped on board through turn 2. He was struggling a little bit. Cucumber has already passed Gary into turn 2. He's well on his way. And he did that and was quicker than Justas all the same. 4.8 seconds off the lead of the race now. No penalties to any of these guys' names, which is what we love to see. The top 10. And I said Rocco was down in 17th, absolutely nowhere, and he's going to finish like 6th or something. He's half the way there, because he's already up to 9th place on Osama bin Rocco watch. He's in for another perfect piece of Rocco shithousery here. He's going to get solid points from just driving the car, like he's going Tesco's or something. He's quite close to the back of Verstappen, and any shenanigans that unfold ahead of him, he is well placed to capitalise, because he's one of those on the fresher tyres. And the guys ahead right now of him and Verstappen are on hard, so that plays very nicely into their hands as Rocco nearly hit the back of Verstappen there at turn 13 as the car just washed across the track. The trouble is they've all got DRS. Can Verstappen get Campbell into turn 1?
You'd like to think so. Here comes the QVR man on the back of Campbell. Is the Scotsman now going to try and fight this? Campbell actually has got good straight line speed down the straights. He's actually going to defend to the inside line. Verstappen will place the car to the outside. Should have the traction around the outside on the exit of turn number 1. Now for the inside in towards turn number 2, but he's got no battery left. Campbell's back through. So Campbell back through and he's into 8th. And now Rocco trying to force away. Bit of a Constantino effectively now going through the right-hander of turn number 3. Yildirim's on watch as well, right in behind as well. He was looking on the back of Rocco previous lap around. Rocco's not going to get the job done, and Yildirim says, you know what, I'm going to back out of the dirty air, let you guys fight, and I'm going to pick up the pieces here if you guys make contact. And that is smart from the man in P10 right now. Cucumber, by the way, is on the back of Nathan this time around. 4th position, making very good ground through the field. Verstappen, though, is through on Campbell, and that was, I think, through the chicane where he made the mistake. Yeah,
Campbell just completely dropped it out of turn 7. And, they nipped through Rocco as well. Cucumber passes Nathan to turn 12. It is all happening for these fresh medium runners. And Cucumber now just 3 seconds off the lead. He's got 2 cars in his way. And I was wrong when I said I didn't think he could win this race. He absolutely can. He's still got 10 laps to go in this one as we start lap 26.
Yeah, doing a good job, Cucumber, I've got to say. Have more faith in me, by the way, in terms of my prediction, because I literally said he's going to be carving the knife like a knife through butter in terms of the race here. Yildirim to the inside line on the back of Campbell. That is late on the brakes. There's contact. Campbell moves across on him. Yildirim, I think, got it completely hot on the brakes, and now Spine is going to try and fly through the middle of them both to the inside line now and towards turn number 2. The Aston Martin swings it to the inside line. Bit of contact through them. There's also contact there. Verstappen and Peas side by side through that part of the track. There's still more side by side action though. Spine and Yildirim Yildirim up the hill in towards turn number 4, and Yildirim comes out on top of that one. Spawn there down in 10th position. Yostas still leading. Montana second. Cucumber there in third. Montana now is on Cucumber watch, and I never thought I'd say that in commentary because Cucumber's right on the back of him. If Montana wants to stand any chance of winning this race on that set of hards, I think let them go, let them fight, and then bring Montana into play, maybe even Nathan into play as well. And now Cucumber to the inside line. Montana says, yeah, you know what, go through. They're both in the party together. You know the tactics now. Cucumber through and he's into second. He'll drag Montana along, and it's going to be a front four fight for the win.
And Gary is holding his team out. You mentioned teammate tactics. Gary's holding Verstappen up through the final sector. I don't think the DRS that Verstappen's going to get is worth the time he's lost behind Gary through those twisty turns. Easy. 11, 12, 13, 14. It's going to be an easy overtake, but I think he's lost more than he gained there. And Rocco is going to dispatch Pease. He's now up into P7, is Rocco. He's done nothing in this race, and he's 7th.
And Yildirim to the inside line on the back of Pease as well. I think that might have been manoeuvred to say, you know what, come through. But Pease is now going to try and defend off the back of Spine. Oh, Yildirim very much out of shape there, running down the hill in towards turn number 2. Pease running wide, coming through turn 2 as well. Spine's on the inside line. There was inevitably going to be contact. Is that Spine as well? Coming through the left-hander of turn number 2. But Spine is through somehow. As a result of that, is through on the back of Pease for P9. Great driving in the end between them both. Yes, there was a bit of contact, but it's ballsy stuff around here in Hungary. You've got to basically have a set of balls and basically run with them around a track like this. Justas lead the way from Cucumber second, Montana there in third. More than 2/3 of race distance gone. Justas from Cucumber. Cucumber 1.2 seconds off the race lead. And that 5-second penalty insight, of course, him serving that up in the pit lane has been an absolute godsend. That safety car, an absolute godsend. Montana now been left in the dirt. Nathan then behind being left in the dirt, and Cucumber's now within DRS range on the back of Justas. So it is going to be a two-way fight, it seems, for the race win at this stage.
I think we're hyping it up too much to say it's going to be a fight. It feels an inevitability. But I will just say I vehemently disagree with your take on Spine there and Pease. You can't, as Rocco passes Gary now for P6. Gary's going to get some traction here, but I think Rocco's got probably going to have the much better tyres into turn 2, and he does take 6th place. Yeah, I think there's being ballsy, and then I think there's, you know, punting and shoving another car out of the way. Well, that was a Lance Stroll shovey-esque move there from Spy. I thought it was pure idiocy. Rocco picks up a track limit warning at turn 4. Cucumber 4/10 off the lead of the race, and Nathan has edged his way into DRS range behind Montana as well, which bears a mention, or had done for about a corner. And I think Verstappen is catching them. Rocco's going to catch them. These guys could still get to Montana and Nathan by the end of the race here.
Yeah, definitely so. Are we going to see a move this time around, though, for the race lead? It looks inevitable, doesn't it? Cucumber on the back of Justas. Coming out through the right-hander of turn number 14. Once again, about to go on to lap 29 out of 35. 7 laps remain. Cucumber a little bit sketchy, though, at the final corner. Puts him on the back foot, but what back foot? Because he's now on the back of Justas in towards turn number 1. This is easy from the man into the race lead, and the Alfa Romeo takes the lead. But Justas now fights it back on the inside line through turn number 1. Surely not going to have the traction, not the DRS, and Cucumber through, and he's into the race lead. And that is now potentially game, set, and match to Cucumber. Justas in second, Montana there in third. Montana on the back foot. Justas now outgaining Montana from what would have been 10 points, now 3 points gained for Justas, and the gap would be down to 39 as it stands, as Felipe is having a bit of a squabble with Sweet Crown towards the back end of the field. The man that deserves to be in D4 hangs it around the outside of Sweet Crown, and to be fair, that comment is going to be retracted, because Felipe through and he's into 12th. Nice battling between them both.
Yeah, very nice, tidy. That is how you get 2 cars through turn 3 from those 2 guys. Sweet Crown must have some kind of damage, because he is running a shambolic pace. Either it's light orange or we got a yellow flag. Izat's retired at turn 5.
Safety car.
We've got a full safety car with 6 laps to go. Cucumber's got a snap decision to make here. And they've all got a snap decision to make, and they're coming in. They've got to come in. I was in a situation here though in D2 where this happened, and I stayed out. And I came in. Everyone else stayed out with about 5 laps left, and I got absolutely ruined in this race. But they're all going to put fresh softs on because no one else came in. I got absolutely shafted. I lost like 8 places and never made any of them back in the 3 laps of racing that we had.
Felipe's the only one that is staying out. So he is trying your
He's
tactic.
going to lead the race. Oh, no, he's not, because Cucumber's far enough down.
It'll be about 5th, I think.
It'll be enough of a disruptor.
Is he in the podium places? He will be. He'll be in 3rd out of Montana.
He's beating Montana to turn 1. Let's go. Oh, no, he hasn't.
No, he ruined it.
Oh, no, Montana's got to let him go. I love this. I love it. Go on, Felipe.
So Felipe
and
now...
Justas has put mediums on.
Yeah, Justas has put mediums on, so he's not confident for them to get to the end of the race. That's probably a bit of hindsight potentially there for Justas. Going on the wrong compound tire, probably human-induced error, I think, there from him. But basically now, what I think is going to happen is Felipe is going to cause absolute bedlam in this field. He's there in 3rd, Montana in 4th. You do not want to have... Put it this way, Montana and Felipe do not have a good relationship regardless here in D1. And Felipe and Montana are now beside each other out on track. God forbid what is going to happen in the final 4 laps of this race.
I think Felipe will fall quickly, but he'll make life as hard as possible for every single challenger who comes his way. And fair enough, because it's 4th position. We'll get another lap of safety car. We'll get underway at the start of lap 32, which means 4 laps, 2 of which will have DRS. If I'm Felipe, I think you fancy your chances with maybe, I'd say, 8th place. If you lose 2 places a lap, I think that's a fair optimism or ambition for Felipe. He ends at P8 and loses, I say, 3 places on lap. 2 places a lap. I think that's fair.
Yeah, top 10, I think, is going to be a realistic goal, I think, from currently out on track. He's there in 3rd. By all means, he's entitled to defend these positions, by the way, and he will cause absolute carnage, I'm sure, throughout the field. But Felipe, of course, has got a jurisdiction now to bring Montana into the race. Does he work with his own teammate, or does he work against his own teammate and then hold up the rest of the field in behind? And we have to fight and find out indeed. But Cucumber leading the way, Justas in 2nd, Felipe in 3rd. And to correct you, by the way, we're only going to have 1 lap of DRS, because remember, DRS detection point doesn't come online until lap 34. Normally, that will be the case, but because the DRS zone is so early around this track, you're only going to have the DRS on the final lap of the race, so it makes things a hell of a lot more interesting.
Oh yes, of course, you are correct. So we'll have start of lap, end of lap 34, start of lap 35 will be its only use, won't it? Yes. Well spotted. So yeah, that makes life even easier for Felipe. Well, I say easier, a little less miserable, I think, for Felipe. If we get an Alpine double podium, though, absolute scenes in the D1 chat. Because I don't think Justas and Felipe are in the habit of partying with each other. But I know Felipe, even if they don't party together, he is in this as a team with Justas. He's adamant about helping Justas win this championship. That is his ambition in LOE D1. So he will do everything he can to cockblock Montana in the last 4 laps of this race. Because he's not looking at this as, they're just in the same car. He is fully treating Justas as his teammate in the title fight that's unfolding. He will do everything he can to keep Montana behind. Bet you bottom dollar.
Yeah, definitely so. Justas, of course, want to gain as many points as possible on the back of Montana. 42 points, of course, coming into tonight. Whether or not that will be the case, and they'll be the same, remains to be seen of what's going to happen in the final 4 laps here in Hungary. Who is hungry for more? I certainly am. Cucumber leads the way into the final corner at turn number 14, as Cucumber now floors the throttle and puts the pedal to the metal, the foot to the floor as he comes out the final corner. Montana is already with Felipe in towards turn number 1. Is this going to end in tears, or is this going to end in a dive bomb to the inside line for Montana? It's the latter, to the inside line. Felipe's not going to fight that. Fair play to him in the end. Montana through and he's into 3rd. It didn't even last a corner, that advantage from him. Nathan there in 4th. Felipe there in 5th. Felipe, though, has got Verstappen on the back. There's a bit of contact there. I think that was Nathan unsettling the car on the back of Montana. Felipe there under pressure now from Verstappen. Verstappen's on the back up the hill in towards turn number 4, but a good restart by Cucumber leads the way. Felipe's tyres completely shot off the cliff though. Verstappen's going to try and go all the way around the outside of turn number 4. There's a bit of sparks flying there from the back of the Alpine. Surely not to the inside line of the chicane from Verstappen. That is audacious, that is bold, that is brave. Is it brilliant? Yes it is. And look at Rocco to the inside line. Now there's 3 wide coming through turn number 9. Brilliant stuff between the lot of them. How on earth they kept each other in check, I do not know. Verstappen through he's into 5th. Rocco in 6th. Rocco tried the audacious move. Gary has ended up in the mud at the back of the field. Felipe and Yildirim are side by side as well. Yildirim looks the inside line, can't get the job done. Brilliant racing between them both. How on earth they came out of that unscathed, I do not know. Testament to all of them.
Felipe's created an opportunity here for Nathan for a podium because he's wedged, even though it was one corner, he's wedged a gap between Justas and Montana. And what has happened? What is happening at the last corner here? Yildirim's through on Felipe. Spine's going to come through as well. We've got Campbell hitting the back of the Aston Martin. Not once, but twice towards turn 1. Now to the outside we go. Felipe is just trying to not die here. Spine is through. Campbell follows him. We've got Sweet Crown is now going to nip round the outside of turn 2. Felipe's all over the grass, nearly collects Sweet Crown in the process. He's now down to P12. I realise now P8 was an optimistic estimation for the end of lap 35 for Ariel Felipe. Yildirim picks up a costly penalty in P7 that'll put him down to 13th place come the end of this race.
Yeah, Jav's saying in the chat, by the way, Felipe's going to challenge in a Fernando Alonso Hungary 2021. It was good while it lasted, to be honest. That was a half attempt, I think, at what Fernando Alonso did in 2021 around here in Hungary. But at least he's got a fight with Gary at the back of the field. Left side end plate damage on the car for Gary, so that's why he spun, I think, half spun, coming out of turn number 2, turn number 3, that part of the track. So Gary, they're down in 13th position. Felipe could be on for a point, though, at least in this race. It's Cucumber that leads the way. Justas in 2nd. Justas, to be fair, is sticking with Cucumber. This is not over until the cows come home, until the fat lady sings. Nathan on the back of Montana in towards turn number 1 as well. Yildirim is into the pit lane. Must have damage on that car for him. That means Felipe is going to be picking up 2 points now out on track. Nathan through and he's into 3rd. Montana will try and fight that back down the hill and towards turn number 2. Not quite close enough. Nathan though on for the podium and on for outscoring Montana. Big complications here. Just that 6-point gain on the back of Montana. 36 points would be the advantage, but yeah, Yildirim into the pit lane from wing damage on the car. He's back in the pit lane and he's going to go for that fastest lap on the final lap of the race.
Cucumber is only 6 points behind Justas in the championship. As big as this is for Justas, it's also a big move, a big race for Cucumber. He gains 13 points on Montana, which is the biggest chunk as he can really hope for. So this does bring Cucumber and Justas not completely back into contention, but it muddies the water a little bit for Montana, I think. And Montana has still got a chance to get Nathan back. Remember, he will have DRS out of turn 14 on this lap, but he needs the mother of all X's. And Nathan is just going to unload all of his ERS because he won't need it anymore. Because we're on to the last lap of the race. I think Nathan has just got this covered. I've spoken very early.
Justas.
But yeah, it looks to be that way.
Justas on the back of Cucumber in towards turn 1. He's got more ERS than Cucumber, so Justas has to try something down and towards turn number 2. Ideally, he's got the traction, he's got the speed, and he's closing in quick to the inside line in towards turn number 2. There's contact between them both. They force each other off, and Justas gets away with potential murder there. Through and into the right lead. Cucumber in 2nd, Nathan there in 3rd. Justas, it was audacious. He came from an absolute different parish to the inside line and turn number 3. Verstappen and Rocco, by the way. Rocco through he's into 5th. Verstappen, I think, is having the fuel save potentially in that car. Rocco through he's into 5th. And Justas now lets back through Cucumber for the race lead. Fair enough. Really, really good. I think he's got us on in the background if he's done that. Justas there in 2nd. Fair play to him. Cucumber leading the way. Justas in 2nd. This race didn't want to end in the steward's room. Justas has made true of that, I think, now. It might get investigated, but Cucumber now in the race lead. I think he would have still led coming through turn number 2, but it all depends now on the final couple of corners. Justas are going to try and send it again in towards turn number 14 if he's close enough, but Cucumber now coming through the final couple of corners in towards the right-hander at turn number 14. Cucumber, the Dutchman, is going to come out on top in Hungary. It is success for Cucumber on the run to the line, takes the race win in Hungary. Justas in 2nd. That move very, very costly in the end for Justas. He let him through. Good sportsmanship at the end of the day, but that contact could and should have been avoided.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't go to the steward's room. I hope Cucumber doesn't report it, because, and if it does get reported and it gets a penalty. That's stupidity on the part of the stewards, in my view. It's overkill. He gave the place back. He did what needed to be done. He rectified the damage he inflicted. But well done, NSX Cucumber. That was one of the most, I think, most brilliant win we've seen this season. Most brilliant win I've seen for a while. To come back from ninth place and overhaul the deficit that he did. He was 5 seconds behind after a lap from Justas, and he overhauled it while making 8 overtakes. Fair play, that man. And a well-deserved victory, and it brings the championship to minusculely sharper focus for him, I will generously say, and for Justas as well.
Yeah, definitely so. Cucumber, of course, was behind Justas by 9 points coming into tonight. It's now a gap of 2 points between them both. Sweet Crown on the end, Mudder. Nathan's up to 4th, I think, in the championship as well. Montana will still, of course, hold the lead of the championship going into Zandvoort next week, which for Cucumber, of course, the Canadian, out on top. I think I called him Dutch a little bit earlier on, but he's Canadian, and he comes out on top here, out on track in Hungary from Justas in 2nd, of course. He's retired, of course, further down the field in that bit of a glitch. But Nathan there in 3rd, Montana in 4th. Montana losing the points out to Justas. The gap 36 points provisionally going into next week as well. Rocco in 5th with Verstappen in 6th. Spawn in 7th, Sweet Crown in 8th, Pease there in 9th, and then Campbell ran off the top 10. Felipe does get pointies there in 11th, with Gary in 12th, Yulbrim in 13th. They were the 13 finishers out on track tonight. Is at Matthias, Maledictus, the Lifeboat, and Marty, the DNF, is out on track as well. Killer has already escaped my clutches in terms of the party, and he is going to go off and practice for D2, and I'm going to wait for the invites for D4 as well. So really hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new for the channel, and if you are very much so and you want to tune in for more action, D2 and myself racing in D4, which is going to be very entertaining indeed. Hopefully I will get off the line at least very well tonight in D4, but that comes up at 8 UK time, so about 20 minutes to go. We are going to leave it off here. Thank you so much to Killer for joining me. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to end off here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.